Let's talk about how to stay top of mind with clients. Do you want to be the person that your clients immediately think of when they or someone that they care about have a need that fits into the products or services that you offer? If so, you're going to walk away from this video knowing how to ensure that you're the name they think of. First, I'm going to help you overcome the thing that you're likely afraid of that's keeping you from staying in contact with your clients as much as you should. Then, I'm going to tell you what business practice is a complete waste of money that's extremely popular but will hurt you when it comes to staying top of mind with your clients. And then lastly, you'll understand the psychology of how to get clients to think of you over your competition. Hope you're ready. Let's get started. I told you that the first thing we're going to do is help you overcome any kind of nervousness that keeps you from contacting your clients as much as you should. First thing we have to do is get rid of this imagery of cheesy salespeople from like the 1960s. You know what I'm talking about, these people that are kind of cheesy, the kind of old school businessman that's at a networking event just throwing business cards at people. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel like real relationships. Whenever we feel nervous about staying in contact with our clients or even with prospects, it's because we feel like we're pushing something on them. We don't understand what our value actually is. And rather than focusing on the relationship itself and how to be of service, we're focusing on kind of this cheesy, I'm trying to get you to do business with me. Even with our existing clients, sometimes it feels a little strange following up because our perspective is off. We're there to help them with solutions. If we can genuinely, in our hearts of hearts, connect what it is we have to offer with some type of problem or challenge they're having, then we feel much more comfortable following up with them. Also, if we know that we're going to do right by our clients, it's also easier to follow up. So for instance, I'm a professional speaker. I've had clients come to me before and make requests of me where I know I'm not the best fit. For instance, I've had bureau partners contact me and say, Crystal, you always do such a great job with our clients. We have a client that needs someone to speak about DEI and we think you'd be perfect. And that's actually happened to me quite a few times over the years. And my response is always the same. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm so honored that I'm the person you thought of. But I am not a DEI speaker. I'm not an expert in that space. And I always say I understand why someone might think that because I happen to be Black and a woman, but I'm an expert in my own experience, not on that topic itself, right? There are people that don't live that experience, that have studied it for 20, 30 years, that actually have more knowledge on it than I do. I just have personal perspective, right? And so because I know that I'm not just trying to sell my clients on anything, I'll refer other speakers for things. I'll refer speakers within the same category as me if I understand their audience and I think someone else is a better fit. And so when you start to look at yourself as a consultant more than a salesperson who's there to stay in contact with clients, to support them, to help them or anyone in their circle that might need your expertise versus just your products or service, it makes you a lot more comfortable following up with people because you're finding ways to be of service. I'm pretty sure you've heard people say things like, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. But the question is, what makes someone trust you to begin with? What makes them think of you over other people? Well, one of the things is your interest in them. Most people like themselves. It's you that they're trying to figure out if they like. And I don't mean you as in you, me as well from someone else, right? And so if you're asking them questions about themselves, if you're reflecting them back at themselves in your relationship, if you're showing them that you listen and that you care, you're giving them follow-up materials not just on your area of expertise, but if they mention there's a nonprofit they support and you happen to hear about some type of fundraiser or medical advancement along that area, passing on that information shows them that you care. People trust people that seem to care about them. Now, I don't know how to train you to care. I feel like it's something you can either do or don't do. But I think even if we're not the most empathetic people, it's something we can practice. So it's in you. Just learning how to listen, ask questions, and reflect people back at themselves is huge when it comes to staying top of mind. Because if you're the only one that really cares and your competitors are just sending them tons of literature, just beating them over the head with their materials, you're more likable. Remember how I told you there was a business practice that's really popular across industries, but it's really a waste of money and doesn't necessarily help our clients remember us when we want them to? Well, that's the practice of sending them or giving them gifts that have our logo on them. I have a belief that if our logo is on an item, it is no longer a gift. It is a tchotchke. It is a marketing material that we're giving them. It doesn't have that same personalized touch as if you were to give them a gift that had their name engraved on it. Or if they love dogs, a picture of their dog on the front of it, or a dog that's the same breed. So there's a huge difference between gifting something that is not a real gift, it's just you marketing, versus showing people that you see them. So one of the things I'd recommend is stop buying all these random things with your logo on it. And I don't mean we shouldn't have pins or something we give out, that's fine. But in terms of if we're spending $30, $40 on something to send as gifts, rather than personalizing it with our logo, because most people aren't just excited to have things with different company logos on it, either keep it blank or customize it to them. Put their name on it, put their logo on it. I'll share something that I did back when I was in sales that's kind of along these lines. In a past life, I was a hotel sales manager, so this was a little bit over a decade and a half ago. And one of the things that I was known for is closing really hard to get deals that people who had the market before me weren't capable of doing. And when asked how I was doing it, I didn't know how to answer. I was in my early 20s other than I care, I listen. There's a company called Cookie Bouquet where they do bouquets with different cookies. And I don't know if they still have this bouquet because this was, almost 2 decades ago at this point. But they used to have a bouquet basket that was little bears that were dressed as cheerleaders and as football players. And so what I would do is I would have those cookies delivered to a potential client. I'd have my proposal inside of the little container with the cookies, but all of the football bears would have the client's logo on the tummy. All the cheerleader bears would have my company's logo on the tummy. And that wasn't something they normally offered. I asked them to do that. And it showed the client, oh, wait, they're cheering for us. It's about us. I remember once upon a time I was trying to get the waste management account. And my main client was someone who was out sick. She had the flu. And so, I was having a hard time getting in contact with her. What I did was I went to Target and I found a little waste paper basket, similar to the ones that they use in college dorms, the little small ones. And it was actually in the waste management color. And I filled it with all kinds of get well items. Like there was tissue in there and echinacea and cough drops. And I basically made her a basket and I put their logo on the front of the little trash can. So when I come back to the office to assemble everything and I put the logo on it, I bought shrink wrap, I had a little hair dryer in the office. The other sales managers came around me and they were like, Crystal, what are you doing? And I'm like, shh, making magic. I dropped that off to the client. Now she was back at work at this point, but she really wasn't taking visitors. She was still kind of sick. I just left it with her assistant. I said, hey, this is something for her. Just give it to her when it makes sense. By the time I got back to the office, I got a call from that client or prospect saying, oh my gosh, Crystal, this was amazing. Thank you so much. This is the most thoughtful thing ever. Can you go ahead and send over the contract? That's what it took. I showed her that I saw her. Now, could I have dropped her off something with my company logo on it? Of course I could have. But I put her logo on the basket and things that reflected her current condition in the basket. She thought of me. She wanted to do business with me because she knew I saw her. This is what you can do in your interactions so that you stay top of mind. I still have a couple more tactics for you, but I do want to ask you a question. Have you ever given someone a referral? Have you ever given a business multiple referrals because you just think they're the best? In the comments section, share why you referred that business, why you're happy to continue referring that business. What was it about your interaction with that organization or the individual within the organization that made you want to share them with more people? I'd love to read your comments and learn a little bit more. Our second to last tip, ensure that you're recording information about your clients in your CRM, or Customer Relationship Management System. Now, if you've never used one before, they're super simple systems where all you're doing is you're uploading your contacts and their main purpose is to set reminders to tap you to follow up with them in future dates. It might just be staying in contact with them quarterly. It might be a very particular follow-up to send them a gift at a certain time or when their birthday is, or they're going to be involved in some type of merger or leaving the company on this date. But it's just a little reminder so you don't fall out of touch with any of your contacts or accounts. So as you're talking to your folks, whether it's on phone or in person, as you're watching them on social media, record any little interesting tidbit about them in that CRM. You never know how that information is going to come in handy later. It might give you gift ideas. It might give you something to talk about upon your next conversation with them. Hey, last time we spoke, I knew that you were training for your first marathon. How did it go? So the more information you record there, the better you're going to be at building that relationship because they're going to see that you care. You can't remember everyone's information. So using a CRM is a really great way to help you stay on top of where your clients are and what their needs are. If you're wondering what the best CRM is, because there's so many of them out there, I have the answer for you. You ready? Whichever one you'll use. There's no best CRM. Their main function is just to send little reminders so you don't forget to follow up with people. But I do have a piece of advice when it comes to choosing your CRM. Do not buy a Rolls Royce if you need a scooter, okay? And so some of them have all these amazing features, but they're so complicated, and if you don't need those features, you're not going to use the CRM. It's going to be overwhelming. So you need a simpler one. So get whatever level of CRM makes sense for the types of features you need for your organization. If you're a 5-person organization, you probably have very different CRM needs than a company that has over 250,000 employees. My last tactic for you is probably one of the most important. I talked about this just a little bit when I kind of went into that story about me gifting, but make sure that you're constantly reflecting your client back at them. Send emails that reflect them. So when you're sending an email, even if it's prospecting, count how many times you say I versus you. How many times do you make it about you versus them? You should mention yourself or I at least half as much as you do you or your organization or we as a unit. Those I's really don't belong in your email, so make it about them. When you're thinking about product offerings or new things that you're releasing, don't just tell them, oh, we have these new features now, this is the newest thing. Relate it back to what you know about them. They're already your clients or customers. Oh, this is our new rollout. I know the last time we spoke, you mentioned this, so you'll be happy to know that this new feature solves that challenge. Make it about them. If you always make it about them, you're going to stay top of mind with them. Speaking of staying top of mind and planning for the future, I do have a free gift for you. If you go into the description of this video, you're going to see that there's a link to download my Future Ready Playbook. It is chock full of all kinds of activities and information that'll help you be a more strategic planner moving forward so that you can design the future you want versus having the future land on top of you.